So yeah, time to behave. I see YouTube. I see Twitch.
Elton John glasses. That's a good call out. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah.
You just, they're not wrong.
I feel very left out on the show. I'm the only one without glasses.
Unspectacled man, you.
They're actually
you and your perfect eyes.
Right? No. Actually, they're actually in my eyes. It's contacts. So,
are we good here, Jesse?
I think we're good.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 374, recorded on May 5th, 2022. On tonight's episode, we talk Nintendo Switch Sports because we've been playing it. The Embracer Group has just bought a whole bunch of companies from Square. And is Xbox actually doing something massive this year at E3, plus bringing Fortnite back to iOS? Oh, and did I mention that Will and Adam are here for the Mega Dads? So ladies and gentlemen, buckle in because it's about to be a heck of an episode. Why are we not hearing anything? Did you press the button? Oh, I hate this guy so much.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to Nintendo Dads. It's May 5th, 2022, and we're at episode 374. And joining us on the show tonight, along with our usual cast of miscreants, we managed to round up an extra couple, and we're bringing them to you live, or, in the past, if you're listening to this any other time, but when we're actually recording it. I don't know where I'm going there. I usually don't know where I'm going, but Justin usually reels me back in before I hang myself like this. So how you doing?
No, I'm going to see how far you can walk and see if you just step right off that dock.
I just want to know how you're doing. You've already been mean to me pre-show. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I would never speak to you like that. But
I'm pretty sure you would. Pretty sure. Well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. You know why? Because you're a genuinely better person than I am, and I appreciate you for that. Here's what I did realize when I said, boy, we have an awesome episode for you. What I should have said, I wish I could walk it back and say, and we have a mega episode for you today.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because Will and Adam are here, and they're from the Mega Dads. So if I said mega, it would imply their show. So yeah,
it's the only podcast that connects Mega Man and fatherhood.
In this country, anyway.
Yeah. What?
Right. Jesse Waldack back there running the show on the boards. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I'm trying to get Justin's head straight, but he moves around so much. As soon as I straighten it out, he shifts again. So
He does what?
It shifts
again? Oh, okay. I thought I misheard you there for just a second.
Okay. Anyway, so I had a quick funny story, or not so funny, is someone tried to scam us this morning. My wife put up an item on Facebook Marketplace, and like within 30 minutes they say, yeah, we'll buy it. Will you take, and forget what the method of payment was, and she's like, no, we don't take that. And in fact, she looked at the website and called them and gave a disclaimer. We don't recommend you use this service to buy or sell because we do not offer fraud protection. So she goes, okay, hard no. So they said, okay, how about Venmo? And they said, yeah, we take Venmo. So we gave them my Venmo tag and my email address because it asks to verify it, to make sure you're sending it to the right person in case there are two Jesse Waldacks out there. And so he ended up using that information to send an email instead of money saying, yeah, because you're not a business account, you don't have enough limit to take the $200. So what we want you to do is ask the buyer for an extra $300 to put it over the limit enough to make you more. I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. And then so first, how is asking the caller going to scam me? Ultimately, there's more. This is part one of a multi-part scheme that we noped out of really quick. And the other thing that was a big red flag was the email came from the Venmo service 1@gmail.com.
Wow.
Was it signed Nigerian Prince?
It might as well have been. So, lesson, our work forces us training basically on how to catch phishing emails. Thank you. I caught a phishing email.
Well, there you go.
So-
And speaking of,
So that item is still for sale.
listen, Jesse, you may have almost been scammed, but let me tell you what's not a scam. Will and Adam are here from the NINDADS.
That we know of.
And it's been a while since you guys have been around on the old Nintendo Dads podcast. Will, this is your first time.
Yeah, it's like I've never been here.
Yeah,
I wasn't a part of the first infamous episode.
I'm very jealous of the Captain America shield there behind you.
Thank you.
Is that the what are they called? The Black series or whatever it is, the studio series?
Oh, I think so. It's been a while. I don't even know that I have the box anymore. I've got the
gauntlet. I've got the Infinity
nice.
Gauntlet from that. And I want the shield, but money, right?
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of money, the man whose money wherever he goes, Adam Leonhardt.
I have no mythical weapons on my wall behind me.
Just have words.
I just have words and a dulcet tone in my voice that is coming back to the Nintendo Dads podcast for the first time in many a year.
At least two.
At least two.
I think your last time was your E3 coverage. So that would have been, I think that's right. So that would have been 2019.
Is that when I called you guys from my hotel lobby and was just like bragging about the fact that I was like nuzzling up with Reggie Fizume in the back of a jazz nightclub?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah, you said he smelled like despair.
By the time I was done with him, he did.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Despair and pizza, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember after E3 2017, John says, if I ever hear Jump Up Superstar again.
I'll tell you what, you haven't lived until you've had somebody whisper in your ear, my body is ready. So I'm just going to leave it at that and we can move on.
Yeah.
I love all that. That's ladies and gentlemen, if you're already about 5 minutes in this episode, you're like, whew, this feels a bit weird. You should probably leave now.
It's
only
going
to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
It's just
I'm suspecting just for reference, of course, it is Cinco de Mayo. And for those of you who did not know, Adam was sending photos of tequila bottles before this episode. So how many drinks are we in there, Mr. Adam?
The bottle's almost gone.
Yeah.
And most of that was my son.
For sure.
He left me a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were saying that most of that was watching him play Final Fantasy and just being like, oh my God.
Yeah. So just for clarity, is he drinking or is he pouring for you? Right.
I mean,
one of those is good parenting. One of those is great parenting.
He's been salting the glass, but he passed out at least 45 minutes ago because he cannot hold his liquor.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
my God.
7-year-olds, they got a lot to learn.
They do.
Listen, this is topping the dad talk from last week's show already. So why don't we move on and just go ahead and dive right into the news?
Let's do it.
We are glad that
doesn't matter what you're glad for.
I was going to say we're glad that you guys are here. And
you're not. So let's cue the music.
We're so glad you're here. It was like, no, Jesse's trained. He's like Pavlov's dog. We say it's time. Let's jump into the news. He presses the button.
Yeah, and with the opening theme, someone normally tells me to push it, and no one did this week. That's why I left the awkward silence.
Tim's on it. Somewhere Tim is like in his sickness fog, and he's like, "Oh God, it's ruined without me."
He's like, "It's much worse than I thought it was."
Big shout out to Tim, folks. The COVID pregnancy has found its way to his house, and so we're wishing him a safe.
I mentioned it during the pre-show that he filled the COVID Dad's bingo card or decks. The decks.
We're 4 for 4 now.
Now all 4 of us has had it at some point this year.
Yeah, totally fine. Well, let's talk about our biggest news of the week, which is probably more than likely, and I think we would all agree with this. Nintendo Switch Sports has been released, and people spent the weekend journeying back to 2006 with and remembering all of their Wii Sports memories.
Including throwing controllers into their televisions.
Yep. That's already happened. There's already been a broken television because of that's why they remind you 400 times in the first 10 minutes that you play to attach the Joy-Con strap.
Now, do we have video on that? Because I'm not sure I believe that a Joy-Con is tougher than a television.
Oh, it happened on someone's live stream on Twitch.
Okay.
Really, Will? Really? These devices that magically drift by themselves, you don't believe are stronger than a television?
What Will doesn't understand is that on the video, they slung it to the side and it went straight.
These also have to be kids that were like obviously born before the Wii Sports epidemic that we all went through, where you had mom and dad stand too close.
This guy looked like he was about early mid-20s, so he would have been.
He totally missed it.
6 to 10 years old when we came out.
So around the horn here, how many of us have picked up Nintendo Switch Sports or have at least played it?
Oh yeah,
yep.
I have.
Okay, so 4 out of 5.
I have not yet. I'll talk about what I did and am doing later in the show.
Okay. So Will and Adam, let's throw it over to you guys first. Just early on impressions. I mean, did you do the test fire thing back when they had it a few months ago?
I did, but I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Right. We still can't talk about it. I mean,
still don't talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll just move on. So you did have at least a little bit of experience beforehand.
Yes.
Let's talk about your early impressions of Nintendo Switch Sports just within the short time that we've had it. How you guys feel about it?
I like it. It's more or less what I wanted it to be. It's not, it doesn't feel as game changing or revolutionary as it did, in 2006, but it's here and it's a modern version of it. I like most of the new sports quite a bit. It's what I wanted it to be.
I have kind of been notorious for saying for the past however many years, I don't care how many of the sports they give me, just sell me bowling. Please, for the love of God, just sell me the bowling and I will be happy. So they sold me the bowling. The other stuff's good too. I actually think this is a pretty solid game. Like Will said, it's very nostalgic, which is exactly what I want it to be. I don't need them to reinvent the wheel. Just give me more of the thing that I love. I am a dude who is a sucker for nostalgia. So the fact that this game has, callback theme music, like they even use the same music remixed. I love it. I could not love it anymore.
Justin, what about you? Early thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get a lot of time to play the game. I was away for the weekend. I got it for my kids, left on the table and said, have a great weekend. Bye later. But I will say that we got some bowling in and it just brought me all the way back, right? 10 years ago, Wii bowling, loved it. I'm enjoying it. I played I may or may not have played the pre-test event that I may or may not be able to speak about. And I may or may not have really, really loved it. So I knew what we were getting. But what I will tell you is, my kids are the ones who are enjoying it the most, right? When they were playing tennis, they absolutely love it. Like just the energy bouncing around the house. It really feels again, like we just turned the clock back 10 years and it was what we all did when the Wii was there. And it was absolutely incredible. That being said, I do think there are some flaws. I would love to see baseball back, right? I would love to see golf. I know it's coming later. But yeah, baseball was one that I thought was fun and simple. I'm really hoping we're going to see some other games. Like I saw a leak or a rumor of maybe a dodgeball. I think that would be great. And the other thing that I'm just a little bit
throwing Joy-Cons at each other,
right? Like you're waiting for.
That's
it, right?
what you do with your drifting Joy-Cons. You just you use them as the ball.
The other thing that I'm a little bit disappointed
that
in.
sounds like 1-2 Switch DLC,
and more, probably more so maybe for Marty because you have really poor connection. I'm sure you're going to talk about this. Is that all of the progress, right? The getting your gear, that is all behind online content, which is kind of not great. I don't love that. I kind of wish they would change that and or maybe just allow both, right? Just I don't know. It just feels like that's a little bit tough, but I'm enjoying it what I am playing for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I think I'm like you guys. I think it's a pretty neat package, but I was very disappointed when I finally got around to playing it on Friday. And at my house where I have no internet, there was literally nothing I could do except local games. I did eventually get it to connect for just a little bit because we use a hotspot type connection and it's the NAT type that Nintendo's servers don't like. So like I can play Fortnite at home, I can play Tetris 99 at home a lot of times, but like I can't play Mario Kart or Animal Crossing or anything because the way they do their servers is bonkers. It's old school. So they don't really want to work with that type of internet. I don't get it. But so it worked a couple of times, but then the rest of the week it didn't do anything. So I've had to like come to my office and sneak games and stuff. But I love Adam, I'm with you. If they have just sold bowling like it's like a $20 package, I would have bought it. All the other sports in this honestly feel like an add-on to me, and especially badminton and tennis are just the same thing.
No.
Well, they kind of, I mean, besides a drop shot, they kind of are. Like, I don't know. To me, they are. Okay. So, I'm not even tried soccer yet. So, I'm sure it's fun. I'll probably play it this weekend, but I suck so bad at Shambara that I'm not going to like make that a normal game that I play. So it's like, hey, bowling and volleyball.
I
Great.
think that's what about 80% of the people are going to do.
I will say that I think that volleyball is a lot deeper than people thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like I just thought that it was going to be like, oh, I'll do the bump and then they'll set and then I'll spike and then it'll rotate and this time I'll set and it'll go back. But now there's like actual strategy for like positioning your character, doing the block at the right time, actually being able to score off the block. So I thought that was pretty good. But y'all, the bowling is 100%. Like you guys on your show, you say Hundo P, right?
Hundo P.
It's Hundo P. It's so good. I wanted to ask this. Have any of you played it on the survival bowling and gotten the advanced lanes where there's like obstacles and stuff?
It's happened to me.
Oh, wow. Really?
That's the best.
I haven't seen that yet.
That's the best online. It blew me away. Like there's no warning to it. There's no like icon or anything that says it's going to be like all of a sudden it just shows up and it was like, why are there bumpers in my survival bowling lane? And,
there's a pit.
Or why is there a conveyor belt? And so I did terrible. Like I got 0 and everybody was, because I think like over the weekend they didn't add it in at all. And I think it might have something to do with once you play enough, you start getting ranked. And once you get to be rank E, I think that starts filtering those in. But the second one, it was so bad. Like I had done so bad. The second lane actually gave me bumpers. There was no way to get a gutter ball. So people were just going nuts, like bouncing it pinball style down the, and I was like, yes, this is what I want. It's so good. It was, and like, it was random. It was variety. It adjusts the skill level. So like if I do terrible on the first frame, it'll bump you down to beginner and the obstacles won't be as bad. But as you play and get better, it'll move you up to intermediate and then advanced by the end. I can't, like, I've played so much bowling. Most everything that I've unlocked in the game has come from playing bowling. But yeah, the locking it behind the online mode is that's a real crappy move. I'm not gonna lie. I don't understand it. I get that they want to push people toward that because like Wii Sports never was online. Now let me remind me here, Wii Sports Plus for the Wii U, was it online? Could you play that online? Did anybody play it?
Oh, like that.
I did play it. I don't remember there being an online, but doesn't mean there.
One either. I don't remember.
I'm going to look it up right now because I don't.
Hey, Discord, Twitch, can you guys look that up? All right, please,
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why you're here. You're our fact checkers.
But anyway, I do. I mean, I think the addition of online mode's fine. I would just really like to be able to unlock some stuff at home, just by playing. I mean, you don't have to give me the same amount of points. Give me a lower amount of points because you can just randomly, rapidly spam games and get points. But just maybe that's going to come in a future update or something.
Well, it's kind of a weird choice too, because it's not like they're offering some sort of like battle pass or anything where they're trying to drive you towards spending money or anything. It's just They just want you to play online, and they're locking that unlockable cosmetic feature behind one of the things that they're notoriously
the
bad
random
at.
the random unlockable cosmetic feature.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, here's the set. You can get one of 12 items. Have fun.
Here is a
here's
version of the
So it's a
set.
free gotcha mechanic.
Yeah, basically.
But just wait. Just wait.
no.
In a couple of weeks from now or months from now, they're
it
going to
comes.
issue out the Nintendo. Like, look, it's a Mario T-shirt, and you can get a Mario hat, and here's a Triforce bowling ball.
Going to be
Like-
Switch Sports League or something like that.
Yeah, right. The moment they start popping in other Nintendo properties into either the clothing, the sports equipment, people are going to be on it like so fast, and it's going to be that crossover, very much like you're seeing with Tetris 99.
That works so well with golf.
Well, but I think it's a little bit different. Like, I think this game is going to sell absolute gangbusters. There is no doubt. This is the blue ocean strategy that they have already brought over fans and gamers who wanted to switch. Now someone's going to be like, oh, do you remember playing Wii a long time ago? That game is back. Remember Wii Sports? That game is back. And that's probably going to be enough to turn some people, either in regards to actual hardware sales. Software sales are going to be banger. This is going to be in the top 10 very quickly.
It's going to sell a huge amount. I think I've seen a ton of people pick it up over the weekend, but I think there's going to be some confusion as well, because if you noticed, there's something here in our notes I wanted to mention, and that is Nintendo Switch Sports must be played on a TV in docked mode if you play local multiplayer. So that means Switch Lite cannot be used to play this game. And there's no indication of that on the box anywhere.
You can use it if you can use it playing solo. You can use it playing online, but if you're want to play 2 or 3 players,
I mean, it makes
local multiplayer.
It makes sense, right?
It does.
I mean,
You don't want
who's going to
that many
play local multiplayer on a Switch Lite?
And I think we joked about that last week.
It's just, it'd be one of those things that you think Nintendo would say, but then they don't, and then you remember they're Nintendo, and they don't say those things. So here's like what I was thinking is kind of like what Justin was saying, this being a blue ocean strategy type game. Maybe it kind of becomes an evergreen title. They can release a new game or a new mode for it, whenever sales slump and they pick back up, like every 9 months or something, we get a new, here's golf. Oh, here's baseball. Oh, here's Frisbee. What do you want to see from this game in the future to keep you coming back to it? Because, back in 2006, when we had Wii Sports, we kept coming back to it because it was like, oh crap, I can bowl, and it's like, it's following my arm or the boxing, and there were, I don't know. So like, what keeps you coming back to this?
Will, what do you think?
For me, I think honestly, it's probably crossover stuff with other Nintendo properties. I'm sure they'll put more games into it. I can't really think of anything that I'm just desperate and dying to play, but I'm pretty happy with the package as it is. I know you can.
Oh, I can.
I know you can. Just some customizations that are good. I'm pretty unhappy with the unlockables so far.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
They're absolute awful.
The very fact that so many of those like basic options, like glasses, were locked behind a paywall.
My character was blind for the first 2 days. I couldn't see.
And your score shows it.
Yeah, ridiculous. Give me my glasses.
Can instead of calling it a paywall, can we call this a play wall?
Ooh,
I like it. I like it.
I like it. I like how you did that.
You gotta. I mean, like, and now I'm in the second page, and it's like all like bubblegum, K-pop, pink, everything.
Well,
which is fine.
Now there's a third page, and it's just awful.
Oh yeah,
Is there a third
everything.
There's a third one now.
Everything soccer.
Yep. Yeah, there's a third one now.
I'm just waiting for the first, like, oh, here's a Mario hat, or here's.
Man, I'm dying for a Mario hat right now.
Where's the like? I mean,
dying for a Mario hat or a Master Sword.
The Master Sword for Shambara, exactly. That would have
I'm
been.
going to tell you right now what would be the ultimate addition to Switch Sports. And yes, I said the name right. I called it Switch Sports and not Wii Sports, like I've done 500 times.
He has.
Let me take you back
I
a little
listened to your
bit.
last show.
Oh yeah, it's awful. It's terrible. Let me take you back to a little game called Wii Sports Resort.
Ooh.
And a special event that's near and dear to my heart called Tandem Bicycle. And
My God.
you get yourself a pair of those crappy little Joy-Cons that are good for nothing but swinging around and gesturing, and you just shake them back and forth. You just shake them. And that's how you move a bicycle. And you get two people to do that cooperatively. One person sits in front of you, and then the other guy sits behind it, and you're just shaking. You're just shaking.
But you can't do that on a light.
No.
You can't do that. No, which is why
No,
that is
the
a
Switch
garbage
Lite, you just
piece of
take it, and
hardware.
you take the whole system and shake it like this.
Mhm. Tandem Bicycle. And right there, that is all the financial information you need, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo will just profit for eternity.
Just
Tandem
wins.
Bicycle overtakes Mario Kart 8 Deluxe lifetime sales.
Can you imagine if you're playing Mario Kart, but instead of like driving and throwing weapons, you just did this?
I love it. I love all of it.
Which
Wii music
works
all
well-
over again.
Which works well for an audio show.
Well, I think there's no reason that they couldn't do we're now doing a DLC package that also involves sports that has the ring in it, the ring fit,
Oh, sure.
right? So what
Yeah.
kind of sports could you use that? Is it like shooting an arrow? Is it like, so they could do a ton of stuff with this if they want to. I do think if there's any DLC, any extra components, packets, it's going to be tied into the Nintendo Switch Online, right? That's the strategy they're deciding to go with. That's what it's going to be. This is, if they bundle this at Christmas time with a Switch, they're done, right? That is going to just burn. And so I think they know what they have. And I think the sales numbers are going to show it. So it's gonna be pretty crazy.
I could see this becoming the new packing game instead of Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of
Yeah,
like a broad
So-
appeal.
Think
So
that's what they're
really-
going to do for Black Friday this year.
Yeah, really interesting. Side note, Reggie Fizume's book just came out this week. Picked it up. It's fantastic. He has been doing the rounds on interviews. He was on Kinda Funny. He was on IGN's NVC. He was on G4. On NVC, he actually talked about the fact that they had originally pitched Wii Sports as not a pack-in game, but as a completely separate game. And it was actually Reggie that went to bat and said, no, it should be packed in. Like that is going to be critical for the actual device and for the sales of it. And he actually had to fight for it. And they were like, oh no, we don't really believe in packing in games. He's like, no, you do. And you should.
No, you're leaving out the fact that he said Miyamoto got angry.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
like, he stopped smiling and the
Does he
look
do
on his
that?
face changed. And he was
Yeah.
like, and basically what he told them is, you don't know what it's like to develop the type of games we do. We don't give our software away for free.
Yep. And Reggie, being a fan of Nintendo, having bought consoles, was like, actually, you do. And let me tell you when you've done that before and why you should do it here. And that was, and so, I mean, that's the interesting part, right? Because when we all look back at the release of the Switch, we all said when the Switch released back 5 years ago, you should have had a pack-in game.
1-2
And it should have been 1-2 Switch because it showed you, it was the best product demo. Wii Sports was a fantastic product demo.
Do you guys know anybody?
Nintendo Land was a great product demo for the Wii U.
Do you guys know anybody that bought a Wii and just bought Wii Sports? Because I do. Like that, they had like that in Mario Kart.
Yeah, that was the ultimate casual player gateway into Nintendo.
I think my work at the time bought a Wii and
Every
here's the thing.
senior home across North America.
What is the 1-2 punch that they did with that is you can control this kind of the way that it feels to box or to bowl, but you can do it as your me. You can do it as yourself. And I will say this, for all the accolades I'll give Nintendo, the Mii integration in Nintendo Switch Sports is incredibly lazy.
Oh yeah.
It is like the ultimate afterthought. It's literally your Mii head on a Sportster body.
With the Switch has been
terrible. Terrible.
Because the
kind of reminds me of that scene from Silence of the Lambs where Hannibal Lecter takes that guy's face and just slaps it on his head. And it's like, that's not convincing.
You're still Hannibal Lecter.
See, I like the 3DS's implementation because you can actually, take a picture of yourself and it'll use that as a template, and then you can tweak it from there. That was my favorite Mii that I ever made.
You could have done that. They could have built that into the smartphone app and let you build your Mii there.
Exactly.
Yep. But hey, we don't.
I think even they
Nintendo.
forgot they have a smartphone app at this point.
They may have until Splatoon 3 comes around, and they are like, "Oh, wait! Don't you remember you have to talk here? Discord doesn't exist."
And then they'll resell that convoluted audio cable.
Oh God,
Zach's got one of those, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he's got one of those. Very good.
Before we leave,
I want to hear your story about what you're going to do with Nintendo Switch Sports because it was ominous. What you said, you were like, let me tell you what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it.
So earlier this week, Gamefly had a tweet that says, if you haven't been with us for at least 6 months, click here and you can rejoin for your first month for $1 for the 1 game or the 2 game plan. So I signed up. I haven't been a subscriber for them for like 6 or 7 years. So yeah, I qualified. So the first 2 games I requested, Kirby, Switch Sports. I haven't received them yet. I haven't received them yet. So again, next time I'm on the show, again, I won't be on next week, but the week after that, I'll be able to talk about them. But the reason why I didn't buy this game is what I'm worried about is, how much I like online games. I don't. And as you said, everything is driven off the online. And there's only, I might play bowling for a time or two, but I'm going to get bored really quick. And during the Wii bowling, where they had the obstacles, I didn't like that mode. My favorite mode was the 100-pin bowling, which isn't in this game.
I think it's coming, though.
I think it is, too. A lot of people said that was their favorite mode. So it won't surprise me that it's coming. But the fact that it's not here out of the box is not incentivizing me.
I'll be honest with you, Jesse. The local mode is really like, unless you have people to play with, there's no incentive. It's like, here's your bare minimum sport guy or girl. Now get out there and bowl or shambar or whatever. And you get to the end and it's like, oh, you won or you lost. Well, do you want to play again or do you want to go back to the menu? There's no progress. There's no bowl, no rank, nothing.
I don't remember who said it. It might have been your show, Adam. But when you're done with an online game, it dumps you back to the menu instead of saying, "Do you want to play another round of tennis?"
This game actively wants to persuade you not to play it. There's no way to jump right back into a match. You have to go back to the sports selection screen and then select it. And I'm the first person to admit that I am spoiled rotten by the fast loading of the PS5. And so when I play a game like this and there is no immediate jump back into the game, it feels incredibly tedious because you got to load back. You got to load back to select the exact same sport that you just want to play again and then load back into it.
I've unlocked the ability, and I don't know if you've played this done enough, but after a period of time, it will allow you to select 3 sports that you would like to find an opponent for. So and you can rank them. So the first one you click on gets a 1 next to it, and then 2 and 3, and it will remember that between games. So you can just press start as soon as you go back. But that is a weird choice. Why just let me re-up for bowling? If that's the only one that I'm playing, then
that's kind of how the demo was. It says, it only had 3 games available, but you didn't have a choice. It was just a random.
Oh yeah, it cycled you through, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's just some weird design choices here, and just some weird things that it didn't feel very in the beginning when I was a little frustrated with the online and the progression and everything. I was like, this doesn't feel as Nintendo as it should. I mean,
in many ways, it like the entire experience feels kind of 10 to 15 years old in both good and bad ways.
That's a great point.
So, I mean, take that as you will.
So for those of us who have played it, as we kind of close out talking about it here, and this way we don't have to talk about it in what we've been playing. Is this something, if people are listening and they haven't picked it up yet, what would you say? Like, should they pick it up or no?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think if, the place that it probably plays the best is Friday night couch, right? Have a family over, young kids or people who had it 10 years ago and you want to have some nostalgia, have a couple drinks. I think that's where it plays well. But I love the addition of the online feature. So I'd recommend
sure to find the strap.
Yeah.
Listen, if you don't find the strap, they will remind you 15 times. Like every time you play a game, it's like, is the strap attached?
Put your strap on.
Put your strap
on.
on.
Just keep saying, put your strap on.
It's that. And hey, fatty, are you tired yet? You want to open a window?
Yeah.
Oh, did you get that earlier today? I was playing and it was like, you've been playing for an hour. Do you think you should take a break? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm really wearing myself out here, swinging my arm back and forth, playing bowling. I
mean, at least they've gone away from the image of the open window and the Wii remote sitting on a table next to it. It's like, at least here, it's like, you've been at this for an hour. Do you want to keep going? As opposed to, you've been at this for a little while. You should probably stop.
Your heart rate is getting out of control.
Like, I'm worried about you.
Yep.
This is the perfect time to reintroduce the Nintendo Vitality sensor.
Yeah.
Do you need to take another puff of your inhaler?
Yeah.
Sit down and eat some Cheetos, please. Well, anyway, we all recommend Switch Sports. I think that take it. This is a game that I think you take it with a grain of salt, knowing that this is best couch co-op, or this is best, when you've got a little bit of time to kill and can jump in and play a few games. I will say I did play it in tabletop mode the other night when I was waiting somewhere. I hooked up to a local Wi-Fi there at the place, and I was like, I'm just going to try it and see if it's worth playing bowling, like in tabletop mode, and it worked.
I imagine it was very weird for the customers at Starbucks to watch you just bowl right in place.
No, I was in a bakery that a friend owns. I was in the back.
Okay.
So I was.
Imagine if it was Tandem Bicycle.
Who wants to jump on with your grande frappuccino? Let's go.
Somebody help me. I got 2 more Joy-Cons. We'll double fist them. We'll get this knocked out.
It's Tandem Bike, anybody?
No, because you can't do that in tabletop mode.
That's right. Tandem Bike doesn't work in tabletop mode. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about our other big story this week, which is the Embracer Group has purchased Square-Enix Western Studios and their respective IPs. This would include Tomb Raider, Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and others for somewhere around the sum of $300 million. This is a huge story, and I think it tells us a lot about where Square Enix is headed for the future. And I think it also shows us that not everything is as it seems at Square Enix, despite the success of different projects they've had lately. I do know that I think the writing was on the wall a bit for this because of the heavy discounts that Guardians of the Galaxy took last fall. I picked my copy up for $20 on a Black Friday sale, but it stayed discounted, which is a travesty because it's an amazing,
it's a great
amazing game. I was so hesitant on that game because Avengers is so bad. It's so terrible. Even after they fixed it.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I think one of the really critical components of it to look at this is Square is getting rid of their Western developers, right? That's a really interesting move in regards to that. The other part of it is you are 100% right. If you kind of look at the balance sheet from Square and a little bit of actually even their public statement, they were very disappointed in Marvel's Avengers. They were very vocal about that. They were all right with Guardians, but not happy about it. It did not sell the numbers that they were really hoping it inevitably did. And I think that they have been a little bit lackluster to understand what to do with the Tomb Raider series, right? So they have ended up selling to, or are selling currently in the process of going through the sale of to the Embracer Group for $300 million. Now, what's really interesting is this is actually probably Square. Square is doing a couple of things. They're trimming the fat, which is kind of critical for themselves, right? Especially from a business perspective. But the real question is why? So it could be a couple of things. They really didn't do great from their sales numbers. Like they kind of barely broke even, really. So from a stockholder's perspective, that's not what you want. You want more money. That's the idea of it, right? But the interesting part of it is Square may be actually making itself much more much more approachable and much more accessible for a potential acquisition. Is kind of the rumor going around the street right now, is if we can kind of sell off the things, trim the fat that's not working for us, we become a much prettier sale potentially that we could be purchased by someone. And of course, right now around the video game industry, the big rumor is, of course, that PlayStation would probably be, or Sony Entertainment would probably be the first party who would be kind of knocking on their door saying, yeah, we love what you do in regards to especially their RPGs, right? You look at the success of Final Fantasy VII, right? So it's interesting to see where they end up landing and what will inevitably happen with Square, because they've really had this kind of hit and miss. Again, a big miss, a lot. Sorry?
How did that Origin one do?
I don't know how
Stranger Paradise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only time I ever hear anybody talk about it is to talk about how absolutely insane the story is.
Yeah.
It's insane and I love it.
That's usually what people say. They're like, I don't know what's going on or why it's going on, but this is amazing. I punched a dragon in the face and it shattered into crystals.
We have to chase chaos. Kind of like weird over the top.
And then we play Frank Sinatra.
They're trying to add a story to a game from 1985 that didn't have a story.
Yeah, sort of. I think the best and most damning thing I can say about Stranger in Paradise is they do play Frank Sinatra over the end credits, and it does make sense. I do understand why.
Okay. Here's what I find really interesting.
I just know I played the demo and hated it.
What I find really interesting about Embracer Group is that I didn't really know a lot about them before this sale started or news of this broke, but
they're big. I
went back and looked, and this is not just a video game company. No. Embracer Group has and for board game fans, if you play any board games, you'll know the name Asmodee. And Asmodee has been around for forever, and they spent a lot of the last 4 to 5 years buying up lots of little board game studios and kind of became this mega group. Well, Embracer just bought Asmodee in December of 2021. They also just bought Dark Horse Comics.
Oh, wow.
So now it's video games, comics, and board games. And if you go and look at, go to their Wikipedia page and look at their list of subsidiaries, I've got it up right now.
50. TH Nordic, Coke Media, Coffee Stain, Amper Game Investments, Saber Interactive, Deca Games, Gearbox Entertainment, Easy Brain, Asmodee, and Dark Horse. They have over 850 owned franchises that they actually have. What Embracer Group does is they kind of look for holes in the market, which is nobody knows what to do with this IP. Nobody's really doing it well. Nobody knows what to do with this development team. Nobody knows this franchise. We're going to basically pick it up at a sale, right? Pick it up on sale, which is kind of what they've done here with the teams they've picked up for $300 million. Remember, we've talked about acquisitions this year in the billions. This is $300 million. This is a small acquisition comparatively to everyone else. And then what they end up doing is they take those franchises in-house, they do a little bit of kind of rework with them, and then they kind of like push back out into the nostalgia. SpongeBob Rehydrated is from this group as well. I believe the Evil Dead game is from this group. Gearbox,
now you have my attention.
Right now you have me. Gearbox Entertainment, that's an interesting one, right? They just did Tiny Tina's Wonderland, right? So they have a lot of these companies that they're saying, you don't really know what to do with it. We have an idea of what we can do with it, and we'll take that off your hands and repurpose it. Embracer Group is an interesting group because it's really about kind of like taking all these small things and trying to make something massive and big about it. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with these teams that they just purchased.
Yeah, and to kind of give you an idea of how big this group is, their revenue for 2021 was 10.6 billion kroner, which is a Swedish unit. They're basically their dollar.
I don't know what that is, but I
how much
kind
is
of
that
want to
in-
eat it.
It's like a cronut. It's 2.6 billion
It's a
kronuts.
pastry full of meat and cheese.
I got to eat a whole plate of
And
kroners.
so the one Norwegian krone equals 11 cents. So
Well, I'm already a lot less impressed.
Yeah, I know.
now I'm
Yeah,
like,
but I mean,
okay.
So it's like 10%. So it's like 10. It's like dollar to yen, where yen is more closer to a penny. But now we're talking dimes.
but the massive umbrella that these people have over a lot of entertainments. You know, it's like the Disney. They rival Disney in a way.
Yeah,
almost of taking this.
Adam, I know that studios, THQ Nordic is the one that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them.
Yep. Adam, I know that you've talked a lot about the Tomb Raider series, especially like the reboot, if that's what you want to call it, with the last few games. I'm interested to see where they go with that, because they're not going to let that property lie.
Right. I mean, there's so many places you can go with that. And they announced before this happened that they were already actively working on the next installment of the franchise. I don't think they're going to reboot that. And honestly, I don't think you have to reboot it again, because so much time will have passed that you can just continue down whatever that road is. Big picture wise, I think this is like kind of the best thing for both sides of this. I think the Western house of Square-Enix felt underappreciated and undermanaged. Like they just didn't know what to do with any of this stuff. You had games that, like, you know, we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, which was an amazing game, and Square just didn't know how to promote it. They didn't know what to do with it. And as a consequence, it went under the radar for a long time. And now, like, Square can just go back to doing what really they are kind of just known for doing, right?
Final Fantasy games.
Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. You know, they've got some other things in the pipeline, like Forspoken.
We need more games in HD 2D.
Yes, more of that stuff. Yes, well, I think this is kind of like the best scenario really for the gamer, you know. I don't know business wide, but for like us, Tomb Raider is going to go to somebody who knows or has a new idea of what to do with Tomb Raider. Yeah. And they can go back to making Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, please.
Yeah. The interesting thing about some of the teams, and I think especially with the Marvel's Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, remember, Eidos Montreal or Crystal Dynamics, they don't own that IP. That IP is owned by somebody else, right? So in these situations, they did not buy the IP. They bought the team that developed them. So now you have some open team capacities, right? And those IPs will go back to Disney and the Marvel Entertainment, and they will then have to kind of go back to market and say, who is our next game going to go to, right? So we may now see a game that may go back to another house to develop in regards to the Marvel series as well. So that one's a little bit interesting because they don't actually own the IP. They're just using the IP. But do you think Adam and Will, question to you as well, do you think Square is kind of trimming the fat to make themselves ready for an acquisition?
I don't know. Well, I mean, they could be. Of course, they could be. I don't know what's going on. You know, I'm not in those meetings. I sit here.
You should be.
You got a sweet Captain America shield behind you, though, so you have all the authority.
So they really don't want to see me. Yeah. This sale, I've been expecting this sale for some time. The divide between the Japanese and the Western studios at Square Enix, it's, you know, that rift, that kind of divide, just even the differences in how they treated the two sides of it. It's been there for a long time. I'm not surprised that Avengers probably finally pushed them off the edge a little bit, said, fine, we have to get rid of this. I don't necessarily know. I mean, I'm not one for the consolidation of all these companies anyway. I'm not surprised that they sold. I don't know that I'm ready to sit here and say they did it to make themselves more appealing, but it wouldn't surprise me if the sale made them that way.
Well, and the weird thing is that Square they've got really good relationships with both Nintendo and PlayStation with different franchises. So like, yeah, they've got a lot of exclusives that are going to PlayStation, but they've got a lot of exclusives that are just on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, which one are they more cozy with? I don't know. Which one is more likely to acquire them between the two? Probably PlayStation, because that's what they want to do right now. But
yeah, like Nintendo's come out and said they're not looking to buy a bunch of studios. They would rather foster the sort of relationships they have.
Yeah,
that and they're investing into their own internal teams, building a whole new building for them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Square or news broke of them buying the Tomb Raider franchise, and thinking then, this is a really strange fit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's a company or a developer that's mainly known for Japanese RPGs,
mm-hmm.
and you now are buying Tomb Raider. I think that we have seen a lot of Western influence creep into what Square Enix has been doing.
Yes.
As we watch, like even Final Fantasy Remake, with it becoming more of an action RPG.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 15 kind of paved the way for that. I think some of those teams may have, or some of that influence may have been going back and forth, but ultimately, I think this is probably better for the Western developers that were sold.
Yes.
Than for
I
Square
didn't even
Enix.
know that those developers were owned by Square. I thought it was more like a Naughty Dog Sony relationship where, I will make the game, you publish it. I thought it was just kind of that, but I didn't. I was wrong.
Yeah, I just think it ends up being better for them, and maybe gives them a chance to be owned or maybe even come into their own and have a little bit of their own DNA in that, and to maybe not have to do the things that Square Enix wants them to do or adhere to deadlines like they want them to or whatever. Look, I'm with Adam. As long as it gives us Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 sooner.
Whatever it takes. Sell everything.
Yeah. Blow it up. Let's go. Let's move on. Let's talk about a few other things here. The 2022 inductees into the Video Game Hall of Fame have been announced. They include Dance Dance Revolution, Miss Pac-Man, Sid Meier's Civilization, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You can go and find some more information about this at museumofplay.org. And we will be talking about the games that we feel should be inducted into the 2020 Hall of Fame shortly as well, as soon as Tim can get back on the show. But we wanted to just throw that out there and just let you know. Guys, how you feel about those four?
I love all four of those. That's an excellent class.
See, I think Rogue would have deserved it more than Miss Pac-Man.
I love dancing.
Rogue, literally genre defining, and Miss Pac-Man is ultimately a licensed hack that was a deal made to prevent a company from getting sued for making the hack.
I think it deserves its place there just for what it is, especially you telling that story. I think that's part of what
Very
needs to be
high level story.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to. That's history. That's video gaming history, and ultimately, this is what this is trying to preserve some of.
Yeah,
hopefully.
but video game museum. Sure, that's a good art. Good art. What do they term they use?
Exhibit.
Inductees.
Exhibit. That's a good exhibit for a museum, but Hall of Fame, I don't know.
Justin, I want to dig into this one with you and the rest of us for just a little bit, but I think this is going to be where you get to have a little bit of say. It was announced today that Fortnite.
Time for me to take a nap?
Yeah, you can take a nap now. This is business time. Fortnite, as you know, has not been on iOS devices in a very long time due to the feud if there's a better way to say it, I don't know, between Apple and Epic. But today, Xbox announced that Fortnite is now available on cloud gaming beta for free on Apple devices, no Game Pass needed. And Justin, just so people understand what we're talking about here, what does that mean that Fortnite is now available on cloud gaming beta?
Yeah. So just a reminder, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Epic basically said, we don't want Apple to take a cut of our revenue in regards to V-Bucks. So one day, Fortnite and Epic put out basically a tweet that was like, hey, if you want to buy your V-Bucks, not in the App Store, just use this link and we go around it. Apple was like, no, you ain't doing that now. So they took their the game off of their platform. And then Apple and Epic went to and had a massive, very costly court battle back and forth. In the end, essentially, it was deemed kind of in brief standing, hey, Epic, you signed the terms and conditions of the agreement. That was kind of a jerk move. You knew what you were getting into. However, what it really forced was a lot of kind of questioning about these kind of like the prices that we take on these e-shops, right? But Fortnite has not been on Apple devices because it ain't come back on. What has happened now is that Xbox, through their Xbox Cloud Gaming, have worked with Epic and have put it on their Xbox Cloud Gaming for free. So if you right now, you can actually just sign on to Xbox Cloud Gaming or create your own account and go and play Fortnite for free. And it opens up in a iOS browser on your iPhone, on your iPad, whatever it is. This is actually really, really critical. So this is kind of important because really what it is this is actually part of Xbox's strategy, which is what they're calling is Xbox Everywhere Initiative. And this is directly from Tom Warren on The Verge. The statement is, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about it in the coming months, but xCloud is getting ready for more markets, more games, and more devices. Xbox Everywhere includes a device like a TV puck for Xbox Cloud Gaming, apps for TVs, and even Microsoft Originals plan is to let you play Xbox games you own through the cloud. Xbox continues this strategy.
That's something that Drew said. If they ever made a box that I can plug in at work.
We have been talking about this box for a while. They're 100% doing. This is their strategy. Phil Spencer has been very clear about we want to get everyone access to Xbox no matter what. Now, here's the interesting thing about this whole Fortnite. You don't need a Game Pass. It is free. You don't need Game Pass at all.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I keep hearing that point here that it's free. Do you have to pay to play Fortnite on Xbox?
You don't need to pay to play Fortnite.
Okay, so why is that significant then?
Because to play any other game, you have to pay to have a Game Pass account.
Correct.
To be able to use that cloud gaming service.
So it's more on the cloud end of it.
The cloud infrastructure is the free part.
So you can play it on now any device, any browser.
It's not that Safari. Fortnite. It's not that Fortnite is free. It's that the.
Fortnite has always been free to play.
That was the impression I was under. Yep. So I was really confused.
It's backpacking off the cloud gaming structure for free.
Which is free. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, the interesting
You're playing a free thing on a free service on another device.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the interesting thing about it, though, right? Again, if you don't need Game Pass, and if you think about how hot Fortnite was on iOS devices, we know that there are more iOS devices than Android, right? There's more of a higher attachment rate. At one point, I heard something along the lines of there was like 160 million Fortnite, downloaded on iOS devices before the whole thing came collapsing down. Even if for some odd reason you're able to get some of those people back, and by the way, now that you're using this platform via Xbox, did you hear about this thing called Game Pass? Right? Even if for some odd reason that becomes the in, right? That's the don't worry, guys. The first hit is free. I'll charge you next month, right? Like that is kind of essentially.
Game Pass is required for other game streaming, right?
Correct.
This is
correct.
Just one game.
But if you go into the xCloud beta, right below it is, here are games available through Game Pass.
Right.
Right. I want to play that game. I can tap and touch it. Oh, I need a Game Pass. Oh, how much does this cost? This is a fantastic move. And I think the really important thing that we need to think about here is this Xbox Everywhere initiative that they're doing. I've said it before. The moment that Xbox comes out with a dongle on a TV, Stadia and Luna are dead on arrival. They've already been barely surviving. This thing will absolutely kill them. And if Microsoft can make
my Luna controller,
if Microsoft can make the deals like they're talking about putting, an X Cloud gaming app on all of your smart TVs, right? And accessible anywhere. This is their strategy, and they're playing it really well. And to go after Fortnite first and to go on to Apple again, this is a huge idea. The other part I will say that they have mentioned is they're also planning to bring more free-to-play games to the cloud. So look for stuff like Apex Legends, Rocket League. Rocket League will probably be, I would think, one of the next ones, because again, that's already in Epic's stable, right? They purchased them not too long ago. So there's going to be a lot of crossover. It's going to be drawing a lot more eyes to it. I think Xbox might have an opportunity at their showcase in June to begin to tell this story, and this is going to be a massive one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's obvious that Fortnite's just like the beginning of this, right? And it's a big beginning. I think it's a fantastic way to kick this off. And as a recent convert to Game Pass, I believe in the magic.
I can't even imagine how to play that game on a phone anyway.
You use your Backbone controller.
Yep.
Which also works with the cloud gaming beta. So
also, don't forget to let your Backbone slide. That would be the other thing I would encourage you to think of.
What?
You made that up. I don't.
There's a song. Let your Backbone slide.
I don't.
Someone Google it. Twitch chat.
Google. That's some crazy Canadian stuff.
I don't believe it.
Anyway, let's talk one more news item here. Non-E3 announcements. Summer Game Fest and Day of the Devs will have live shows on Thursday, June 9th, with game reveals, announcements, and more starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, Jeff Keighley has partnered up with IMAX to simulcast the Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards to IMAX theaters. So you too can go to IMAX and be bored for 4 hours instead of sitting in front of your computer watching the Game Awards. You can watch it for free at home, or you can go buy tickets, which go on sale May 12th at 9 p.m. Pacific. What? Hold up. I just read this.
Right,
tickets going on sale at midnight.
Right. That's why I put the note on the bottom.
Who's sitting up? What? Like, man, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah. Tickets go on sale at 9 o'clock Pacific, which is midnight Eastern the next day.
I think people who live on the West Coast, they forget that the rest of the United States exists.
I think so.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, they're already in tomorrow. We're out here with our cool breeze and our California and oh god.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're watching and you're from California, we love you.
You know what it is? It's revenge for the East Coasters having an 8 o'clock announcement that is 5 a.m. their time.
Well, they chose to live out there. Sucks to suck. That's all of our news for this week. So why don't we take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
I am still actively trying to get the information of Maestro Fresh West, Let Your Backbone Slide, from the Canadian hip-hop artist Maestro Fresh West, 1989 debut album, Symphony and Effort. Ladies and gentlemen, click the link and you can listen to it while I'm doing our Manscaped ad to make sure that your backbone slides. Also, this song was a banger in Canada, and let me tell you, it was played at every party.
Did you dance to this at your 8th grade graduation? Or
big thanks to Manscaped for continuing to support the Nintendo Dads. And attention, listeners, if you are ready to be blown away, you've asked for it and they have listened. Our friends at Manscaped have just relaunched the Ultra Smooth package. It's back, baby! Your new favorite tool and complement to the Lawnmower 4.0 to keep your boys smooth while looking and feeling their best. Their specialized groin shaving kit is here to help you buff, protect, and shave your most sensitive areas. It's time to crop that bush for yours and get right to the roots with a discount just for you from Manscaped. So get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, at checkout. That's 20% off and free shipping when you use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, at manscaped.com. Gentlemen, hey, Manscaped has got some amazing products. You need to check it out. I would highly, highly recommend the Ultra Smooth package. It is fantastic. You're going to absolutely love it as well. And of course, if you're there and you don't like the lawnmower, you don't like the smooth package, check out some of their amazing products like their deodorant, their ball cream, their body spray, all fantastic stuff. Shampoo, conditioner, 2-in-1s, body wash. It's all amazing. Lip chapstick. Chapstick. I love their chapstick. It's fantastic.
Yeah, let's not
love the stuff. Again, Nintendo Dads and NINDADS, NINDADS, 20% off and free shipping. Big thanks to Manscaped for their continued support. Back to you.
The best part of that entire ad read was Adam's face.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we've been doing this weekly for.
We should have given him a heads up.
9
You know,
or 10
I've heard
months
the
now.
audio version, but like being present when Justin suggests a smooth package.
Yeah.
That's a different experience.
I'm going to be really honest with you. Since you guys have came on last 2 years ago, we've really relooked at our evaluations for our organization and just kind of said, let's just let it go. You know what I'm saying?
And clearly you took a long look at your testicles and decided that
well, the nice part is
some work needs to be done.
Now that the trimming and hair is gone, it's easier to look at it. Right. And that really allowed me a really clean, fresh look at them to understand what I needed. And what I needed was Manscaped.
Yeah, and speaking of clean, fresh looks, let's talk about some events, shall we?
Marty's like, get me out of here.
Hey, listen, we love their products, but we hate to hear Justin talk about them. We love you, Justin. We want to let you guys know about this cross-community Smash tourney. That is coming up Saturday, May 14th with the Nintendo Pals, Carpool Gaming, Super Gamecraft, and the Nintendo Dads community. Signups are coming very soon. It is going to occur on Saturday, May 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's the start time for Smash bragging rights. That's right. There's no prizes because we're all cheap. Settings are going to be best of three stock with a 7-minute timer, smash meter on, items off. So that means no fun, no Mii fighters, Omega stages and Battlefield stages, and damage one is set at 1 with the stage selection going to the loser. More details are to come. Listen.
See, this is the type of tournament. This is the type of gameplay that my son would love.
This is the type of stuff. Signups are live right now, according to Tim, who's in our chat and not recovering at home. So here's the thing. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say it because I can't participate because I have a wedding to do that day. This is the kind of tournament that makes me not like Smash. So Smash is a party game.
This is what my son would love and he wanted to be in it, but we are also going to be out of town for a different wedding.
Yeah, it's exactly
Justin,
the rules
why are you
still
still in the chat talking about this Backbone song?
Listen,
nobody cares.
Am I the only one who clicked the link while he was talking about balls?
Am I right though, Will? It's there, isn't it? Backbone site. It's a banger. It's a 1989 banger.
It is.
Jesse, can we bring that in? Can we just bring that in right now? Just pump in the audio. Let's hear it for a second. I'm not really worried if we're going to get demonetized. Let's hear it. Let's really just engage it and let's chat about it.
Posted the link in the chats.
Marty, I'm helping you get culturalized. Do you know what I mean? Like experience something beyond the US borders. Listen to some great hip hop from Canada. Here we go.
When does it start?
Does it start with the chorus?
No, they're starting with a fight. We'll dance off it.
You got to go to like 40 seconds in.
Yeah, let's move it into 40 seconds, Jesse.
I can't slow down.
We're gonna get copyright strike for this.
I'm okay with that.
It's okay. None of these guys are still alive.
There it is. You see?
It's like, I would love to know who copyright strikes you for this explicitly.
Am I right?
Right now, we have a copyright strike from Maestro Fresh West.
Come on.
We'll let you know in about 3 hours.
Okay.
Hold on.
Anyway. Thank you for saving me from burying myself from on Smash.
Adam, what would the kids call that music?
They would call that a banger.
Or maybe it slaps, right? It's fire.
Slap.
It's a banger. It slaps.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to your dictionary. I know what's going on.
Yeah, but No kid from 1989 would say that.
That is correct.
No, they'd say it slaps, eh?
And then they would apologize.
Yeah, sorry, it slapped, eh?
Oh
some
my
good
God.
today?
Yeah, I'm
Slap you
sorry.
so hard,
I'm
eh?
sorry. I'm sorry I slapped your eardrum.
Do
you want me to drink- do you-
copyright
Wait,
your dog, eh?
Hey,
No.
hey, don't worry if your backbone slides, eh? We've got free medical. It's okay, eh?
And 10 bits. We got some 10 bits for your backbone.
Now, some ball deodorant, eh?
And look,
Oh,
Are the
speaking
10
of
bits
10,
smooth?
speaking of 10 bits, Tim would want us to remind you about the dinner table, which is coming up every third Friday of the month. Tim and the Nintendo Dads Discord community get together to discuss what's on everybody's mind, which is, it's in the notes here, the latest Nintendo Direct. So apparently Tim has been to the future and seen something that we haven't. But if you want to join in, if you're a patron or Twitch subscriber, you can join our Discord call on Friday, May 20th at 10 p.m. Eastern for that. Now, because you've subjected us to backbone sliding, it's time for Jesse's PokéMinutes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No.
Pikachu.
I hate you all.
you were saying?
I did not subject you. All right. This is classic music from Ken. I am, again, expanding your horizon. Also, that is going to be stuck in your head like for a while now.
No, it's
You know?
gone.
There are so many things stuck in my head from this last hour that I will not be able to purge.
Well, how
from the
many of them are
darkest
margaritas?
recess of my
Yeah.
mind.
Will's still drinking. What's your problem there, Adam?
I'm empty. Look, it's invisible.
It's like he's not
I can
holding
see more of the
anything.
glass. So
I'm so drunk there is no glass.
Was there
Okay.
ever a glass?
All right, Pokemon Go updates. The Pokemon Air Adventures started May 3rd. It will go until May 8th at 8 o'clock local time. Mega Latias and Mega Latios make their Pokemon Go debut. It's the first time we have Mega Legendaries in the game, and they are hard. They are considered 6-star raids.
Yeah, they are.
Timed research focused on catching Pikachu and flying-type Pokemon will be available during the event. Complete the research to earn 50 Latias Mega Energy, 50 S Latios Mega Energy, 3,000 XP, and an encounter with a flying Pikachu. During this event,
yeah.
egg incubators will be twice as efficient. May 12th to the 20th is the Water Festival. A surge of water Pokemon will be seen in-game. Alola to Alola event, May 25th through the 31st.
Alola no Lola action.
Look
Girl.
back at the adventures trainers have had this year with the Pokemon found in Alola.
So many adventures.
exotic.
So, due to Mega Latias and Mega Latios raids, there will be no 5-star raids from May 3rd to the 10th. Tapu Fini will make his Pokemon Go debut on the May 10th.
Way to go, Tapafini.
And all 4 Tapus will be in raids from the 25th through June 1st. See, Mega Kangaskhan was in raids from April 29th through 3rd. I'm not watching the screen. I'm watching the notes, so I don't know what the
Just
hell
keep going.
they're
Just
doing.
keep going.
Good, yeah.
This is good stuff.
I'm almost there. Just keep going.
The previously mentioned Mega Latias and Mega Latios from May 3rd through 10th. Mega Blastoise will be in from May 10th through 25th.
Oh, that's the stuff.
Mega at Altaria will be from May 25th to June 1st. May research breakthrough encounters will be Alolan Grimer, and a new buddy widget will be available in early May to help you keep track of the progress of your buddy Pokemon.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
That new widget.
oh.
Mm.
That bug.
I had something to say, but it's gone.
tell
Pokemon
you-
Minute now might be my favorite segment of the show.
I'll tell you what, Will. We won't be back for 3 years now.
So,
Look, there's
part of
a
me
precedent.
wants
I
to
had
know
to
what the hell you
participate.
guys did, and the other part of me does not want to know what
It's
you guys
better
did.
you don't know.
It's better you don't.
Yeah,
We have been off the rails
I
since
had
the
a
very
wonderful
beginning.
time.
we've been off the rails since Let Your Backbone Slide.
I think actually since pre-show.
Let's slide over to what we've been playing.
Oh my gosh.
Will and Adam, it is our tradition to let our guests go first and talk about what they've been playing. And so, Will, since you're a first timer, we're going to throw it over to you first. Let us know what have you been playing?
Oh, let's see. I've been working on a couple of reviews this week, so I guess the only game I've really been playing on a regular basis besides Switch Sports is Trek to Yomi, which came out today. And
That looks really good.
It looks absolutely gorgeous. The way it looks and the way it presents itself is absolutely stellar, and it's my favorite part of it, to be honest with you. The black and white with that film grain filter on it, I'm really into it. Every single screen is super cinematic. I got some real vibes of the old pre-rendered cutscene game or pre-rendered background games that you would see on like PlayStation 1 and stuff, where you walk off the side of the screen and shift abruptly to the next one. There's a lot of that. They use it to very deliberately stage everything out. And I had a really good time with it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not perfect in cutscenes. Some of those models look a little rough, and the combat can be a little simple sometimes, and it can spiral really quickly if you do poorly. But I liked it quite a bit. I think it's definitely worth a shot. I'm glad it's on Game Pass.
I heard awesome. It didn't score very well, I think, right? The Metacritic is not great on it. Sitting a 7?
I haven't looked at the Metacritic. Every review I've seen, just kind of like looking around online a little bit, it either does really well or it does very middling. This is a game that's either going to hit with you or it's not.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And it hit with me.
Nice.
Cool. Adam, what about you? What have you been playing?
It's been nonstop Pokemon Go for me. I've been doing lots of raids. Lots of special events. I was playing with my Blastoise the other day. That was very awkward when my kids walked in on me catching my Mega Blastoise. But other than that, it's been a lot of Switch Sports, and I've been kind of slow rolling a game that I bought quite a while back. And Will, I honestly think you would really like this game, Eastward, which is kind of like a love letter to kind of Super Nintendo era JRPGs.
Very Earthbound, very inspired by Earthbound.
Yeah, very Earthbound, very Chrono Trigger like. When I say I've been slow rolling it, like very slow rolling it. But it's got this really cool kind of like post-apocalyptic, underground, steampunky kind of vibe, but it's got a really interesting sense of humor, and the sprite work is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Yeah, it's just a really, I mean, for a guy like me who grew up playing, the Square 16-bit stuff, like that was my jam. That's really what got me into gaming. So to play a game like this that really kind of wears its heart on its sleeve of what its inspirations are and what its influences are, I think Eastward is definitely a game that fans of that style and older folks like me, like I don't know how much this game's going to appeal to the younger generation, but it's definitely geared towards folks like us who have Monday through Friday pillboxes to remember to take their meds.
How far into it are you, Adam?
Probably like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Not very far.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of about me as well. I found I did that like in sprints. Like I was like, yeah, I was really into it. The thing I found most about it is I didn't find it overly challenging. Right?
Yeah, it's very simple, basic gameplay.
Yeah, like the like if you're not hooked by the story, the gameplay is not going to necessarily hook you in that loop. Right. But I do enjoy the world they've crafted. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't ever feel like you're really challenged from a combat perspective. There's progress, but it doesn't feel like it's like man, I need this progress to survive. You're like, no, I figured it out all by myself.
It's definitely one of those games that you're gonna get hooked on by like the world building, the charm of the aesthetics, things like that. I'm playing another game on PlayStation called Anno Mutationum, which is kind of like a throwback PS1 game, and it does the same kind of thing where it's like as a game itself it's fine, but as like a kind of like a time capsule of what gaming used to be, it's outstanding, and it just grabs you like, hey, you remember when you were you could stay up past 8 o'clock at night and you could play games all the time, and this is like the experience that you had of exploring these worlds. I think this
such a good time.
Yeah, it really is. I love games that make you feel the way you used to feel when playing a game.
What was the name of that game?
Which one? The PlayStation one?
Yeah.
Anno Mutationum. And it's like a cyberpunk game that is very aesthetically, it's like Mega Man Legends. It's like if Mega Man Legends had a baby with Cyberpunk, that's what that game would be.
And now I want it.
I will never forget you saying that, like, dredges up a ton of nostalgia for me. That, like, Link to the Past will forever be like in my top 3 Zelda games. I mean, mainly because it's a masterpiece, but also because, like, that dungeon music, like, you know, like that you know, you could hear it if you play the game. Like, that was the soundtrack of my summer, the year that it came out. Like, staying up late, you got a friend over, you bought pizza, like, you know, and it's like, for me, that was like, I was 12 or 13, 14 at the time. So, like, staying up late, trying to beat one more dungeon or find one more secret.
I think as a player in my 40s now, I am one of those outliers where, you know, a lot of people will give the Nintendo Switch Online retro games a lot of crap because they don't hold up. But to me, they call back such a sense of place when I play a Nintendo 64 game where, yeah, you know, mechanically it's not that great, but I immediately go back to that time in my life and how it felt to experience that comes right back to me, regardless of the shortcomings by today's standards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that's like when you're introducing people to those games for the first time, like if they didn't have that experience, they don't understand why they're like, oh, this game is lame. Like, it's so blocky, or it controls so weird, but they're not tied to that nostalgia. Right. I think that's crazy. I'm going to check that PlayStation game out as well. Jesse, why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
Right. So last week I said I played the original Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. This week I started playing Final Fantasy 2. I am probably halfway through it. I'm still like 8 hours in, maybe more. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm definitely a good amount in. I am remembering to level up my defensive spells. That was my problem last time I tried playing, where I got to the final boss and couldn't do anything about it because I didn't have my defensive spells. But
did they leave it more or less alone, where you've got to beat up on yourself sometimes to get that HP stat up?
I've never needed to beat up on myself, but
does it still work?
I don't know if it still works. I didn't try it, but my hit points, like I have like 2 of my characters are in like the 1500s for hit points. So they're fine. You know, I'm still not used to the 4 slot being a rotation. I don't like that in games, but that's what this game is. So you kind of have to live with it. I'm kind of going through a walkthrough, which tells me, oh, this person's going to leave your party now, so take the gear, which I think in Pixel Remaster, it automatically takes the gear, but I'm not taking any chances.
Oh, thank God.
But yeah, I'm liking it. The thing I like about the Pixel Remasters, I didn't mention it last week, is the game gives you a map of like pretty much every area, every city, every dungeon. That you can pause the game, look through it, and see, okay, there's a treasure chest here, there's a treasure chest here, there's a room here, which may or may not have treasure chests. So it's really, and it tells you how many treasure chests are in each dungeon. So you can really nitpick it your way through and make sure you get everything you can. There was one dungeon that I would have missed the treasure chest if it didn't tell me the count. And I was literally at the exit. I had to go back to the beginning and take the one alternate path I didn't take, get that chest, and then go back to the exit again. But more grinding, right?
That's what that one's about.
Yep. And in this one, you're not grinding levels; you're just grinding your skills and abilities, which is weird. But at least you do have magic points instead of you can do 4 level 1 spells and 3 level 2 spells. I didn't like that from the original game.
Oh, no.
So did Final Fantasy 3 go back to that? I don't remember. I never played 3.
I don't think I only played that one on like the DS remake they did.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that one used MP.
Okay.
I don't know about the original for NES.
I did play the DS, or tried to play the DS, and that first dungeon where you were Minnie the whole time and could be stepped on. I didn't get far past that first dungeon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll likely finish that this week, or definitely it'll be finished by the time I'm on the show next, because I'm bringing the whole point of me installing that on my laptop is so I can take it with me when I go out of town.
Okay.
So if I finish 2, I'll start 3. The other game I've been playing, it was released on Friday, Monogram Minimal. So not a Jupiter Picross
I knew
game.
you were playing this.
Not a Jupiter Picross game, but a Picross game nonetheless. It comes with about like 150 or near 200 puzzles.
Could you say that name again?
Nonogram Minimal.
Nonogram. Okay.
Yeah, Nonogram.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was, I don't know what it sells for now, but if I pre-ordered, it was on a discount, so I bought it for like less than, I think, like $4. But so it's got the normal black and white modes up to 25 by 25. It's got a color mode, so kind of what you'd expect. It's got a mode of just, it'll randomly generate you garbage, and you decipher it, and it won't be a picture, but because it's garbage. But it works. It does what it wants to do. Then it tries to have user generated content, and that's where the thing just falls apart.
Oh.
For like when you say you load the user generated content, you have a black screen with loading in white text for about 3 or 4 minutes before it finally does something.
Ooh,
what?
And then
no.
the screen it gives you doesn't even have the cursor on it. So like the cursor is on a different page than what it's showing you.
That's the kind of load screen where you're like convinced that the game is broken.
Yeah.
This is definitely broken. And of course, if you push the wrong, L and R changes your pages. If you are on, you could be looking at the second page, but the cursor is only on the first page. So if you push L to go beyond the first page, guess what? You're on a black loading screen again for another 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm like, I was able to finally fight through and do a few of them. Of course, user-generated content is garbage. There was maybe 2 or 3 good puzzles that I did, and one of which I took a screenshot and posted it in the Dads After Dark room, and that's all I'll say.
It's user-generated content, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I just was finishing an episode of Kit and Krista's podcast, and they were talking about Miiverse. And one of the things that they were talking about was like, we miss Miiverse, and how like some of the things were funny. Like one of the stories Kit told was that they were doing like during when Samus Returns was getting close to launch, and he made a joke on air. Why can't Metroid crawl? And from that old Miiverse post, and like the lady who was with him just like kept on going. He's like, I don't know if she didn't understand it or she was just like, I'm not acknowledging this. But one of the things they also talked about was that Nintendo of Japan sent them a note one time about the amount of penises that were drawn on Miiverse, and it was like, why are Americans obsessed with these things?
We're a simple.
Why
breed.
aren't you?
Yeah, well, that was half of Picto Chat on the DS, so it just continued. It's just a natural progression.
That's why there's no more Picto Chat. The Swamp Note Studio or whatever had to go away. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's why.
Well,
good job, America.
That was a different can of worms that was opened.
Yeah, well, you should have known. User-generated content in a picture game.
That's
there you go. Justin, what about you? What have you been playing?
Nintendo Switch Sports talked about. The other game I have been playing is the Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition that just came out on the Switch. And have any of you played the Stanley Parable before?
I have.
Yeah. What
I
did
really
you
want to?
I think I downloaded it or I own it on Epic, but I never played it.
Yeah,
Like, I haven't played this deluxe edition.
Okay. So you played the original then?
Yes, I did play the original.
I mean, it is like I don't want to spoil it, right? So this is a challenge because it's a very unique experience.
Yes.
I will say a couple things. The narration, the VO work is absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's stellar.
It's absolutely
that's most
absolutely
of the game is what I
absolutely
understand.
stellar.
Mm-hmm.
There is it pokes fun at the video game tropes very easily, and really has you questioning a lot of things. Now, I'm going to say is I finished the game in about 90 minutes. And I don't know if that's right.
You finished the game once in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Games like this, they have multiple paths.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Lore can be found.
They do a great job in the loading screen of like the end is never the end. Right. And so it like messes with your brain a lot. Also does it like the deluxe edition also has a really great job of actually honoring or celebrating the success that they had, because the original Stanley Parable came out, as I recall, 2013, I think, give or take. It was kind of one of those early walking sims. And they kind of show all the awards that they had. They actually kind of show this like museum of, hey, here's what we were actually thinking for this idea, and here's what the designers had, and here's kind of the approach that we had to this. It's a very cool kind of game within the game as you go through the museum. I really, really enjoyed it. My wife played it with me kind of passively. She was watching, and at the end, she's like, what is going on with? And I'm like, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm here for it and I'm enjoying it. So I'd recommend the Stanley Parable. I think it might be on Game Pass right now as well. I don't know for sure. Check it out. It's on the Nintendo Switch eShop. The other game I've downloaded but have not played yet is Arise, the Definitive Edition. This came out last week as well. We got a review copy for it. I haven't had a chance to do my first look on it. It's about a 5.5 hour to 6 hour game, but I'm excited to play it. What's up, Will?
Oh, sorry. I was just checking. I was like, I kind of forgot that they were putting this new updated Stanley Parable on consoles. I kind of forgot about that. So I wanted to take a look at the trophy list to see if a certain achievement was still here. They changed it a little bit. Super Go Outside, which you cannot unlock until at minimum 2032. The trophy is don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years.
Away.
Yeah.
On the original game on Steam, it was don't play the Stanley Parable for 8 years.
Mm-hmm. It is very much a game that understands it's a game that understands gamers.
Sorry,
I feel like I would
too
love
excited
this
about
game.
that. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. I was like, oh, did I miss something? Or you're very excited about Arise. I don't know for sure.
I don't know what that is.
That's okay.
He got a rise over a rise.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Stanley Parable, I would highly recommend. And I'll have some footage of Arise come up soon. But
I just looked up the page for Arise, and it's on sale 60% off, down to $8 instead of $20.
Yeah, it was a game that I had seen. I think it was released on PlayStation originally, and it just looked really, really cool and a kind of an emotional journey. It's kind of a Viking who's kind of exploring, I think, kind of the passing of his family.
Oh, this is that one where it's the dude in the afterlife, right?
Yes, yeah, and it's like time. He has to kind of move time back and forth.
I do remember.
Did you play it?
I did not play it, but I remember seeing it and thinking it looked really intriguing.
Yeah, it's out now. Excited to take a look at it for sure. And it's a definitive edition on the Switch. I don't know what else they've done to it, but it looks like an emotional journey. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out.
And sometimes I'm down for a good cry. You know,
that's what the Pokemon Go Minute is for.
That's exactly it. But that's only 1 minute, and I want so much more to cry.
You can clip those sections and put them in one big long ASMR style audio file to fall asleep to.
We should definitely do a Pokemon ASMR for our fans. And
Let's do it.
I think just you.
Let's hear it
for yourself.
Jigglypuff.
Do not do that again.
Wobble Buffett.
Yeah. Mewtwo.
Wobble
Genghis Khan.
Pika.
And then you can throw in Latte or Latte Da or whatever coffee Pokemon Jesse was talking about earlier.
I don't know what animal this is or what Pokemon this is.
So for me, I've been playing Nintendo Switch Sports. We've already talked about that, and Fortnite. That's really just stuff that I talk about with Justin. I'm coming up on level 70, so hopefully
Adam,
been able to finish the season.
Will and Adam, you guys are Fortnite players, aren't you?
I
never
definitely
played
am.
Fortnite in my life.
Okay, Will's not.
I am big time Fortnite. I play that with my son all the time. He's 140 right now.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Well, I'm not worried about his drinking anymore.
No, we go all in every season with that, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
With all the other games you play, how do you have time to play that much Fortnite?
Well, I'm only like level 50. So my son's routine is he will wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and play Fortnite before he has to go to school.
See, that I understand because I did the exact same thing when I was.
And then when I pick him up, he usually wants to play a couple rounds with me, which is why he's like 3 times the level that I am.
Oh yeah, you're helping him out. And he's helping you out. I mean, if you're doing those challenges together.
He's carrying me. He is carrying me.
The other game I've been playing, I've talked about, and I'm not going to mention very much, but we're spending a lot of time in Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. My wife and I are actually playing this game, and we finished all of the movies, and now we've gone back to the actual galaxy part of it, which is free play, which you can do. It's different than other Star Wars games, Lego Star Wars games that have come before it, in that you can go back and you can free play the levels, or there's a map of the entire galaxy that's all the planets that you've been to, and you can go back to those freely. You can go between planets, and each of those planets has an open world type area or two where there's all these different challenges. So there's races, and you have to go fight things, or you have to. The main thing is finding kyber bricks, which are the way that you unlock all the abilities in the game, or power them up. And there's 1,136 of these kyber bricks, which is 6 per level. Then the extra ones that you can find, just interacting with the world. And we're loving it. It's so much fun to and it's so easy to pop into it and do a few missions hey, which planet you want to go to? Oh, we're going to go to, Coruscant, and we're going to see if we can find, we've got an hour. Let's see how many kyber bricks we can find, or how many missions we can do.
That bounty?
Yeah. So we're actually, we were talking about today, I was are we going to do 100%? Are we going to try? And she doesn't play any other games other than Lego games. That's her jam. And she's I want us to try for 100. So I was look, bonus, you're playing video game with me. Awesome. We'll do it. And it's Star Wars. So we're having a ton of fun. And then another game I wanted to mention just very briefly is actually a board game that has become a game. And I think this is out on all systems now. I've been playing it on Switch. It's called Wingspan. And it is a game about bird watching.
Oh, I've played the board game on this one.
This does not sound fun at all, but it actually is really.
It is.
It's fun in you're competing with each other, but you're not fighting each other. You're competing for points, and you're complete challenges. But the basic way it works is if you're playing it on tabletop, you have a board that has 3 sections, and it's the woods and the plains and the wetlands. And there's certain birds that can be played in certain ones, and you get points for that, or they trigger special effects. But each section causes you to do stuff. So if you go and you activate the forest, you gain food. If you activate the plains, you create eggs. If you activate the wetlands, you draw cards. But as you play birds, you enhance the effects of those areas, so they get more powerful, and you get more bonuses. And so what the object is you want to play as many birds as you can in each section, so that when you trigger the effect, it goes from right to left. And since you've played all these birds, they have all these actions, and they chain link with each other. So it's today it was I was producing 3 eggs, and then I had a bird that allowed me to produce 2 more eggs, and then a bird that produced eggs when another.
Please.
It's
I already laid 3 eggs. Somebody
I did. I laid 3 eggs. So, and the challenges they change every game. So in the first round, it's whoever has the most birds in the forest played. In the second round, it was whoever had the most eggs in round nests or woodland nests or whatever. So it's really peaceful, and the artwork is fantastic. The reason I've been playing it is because we got a code for the European update that also included the seasonal decorative pack. So basically what it is the seasonal decorative pack is just like at Christmas. It looks like Christmas at, different holidays. It updates itself. But the European update actually adds a whole new slew of birds. So all of these birds have different abilities. And so it's adding things, it's changing some rules, it's helping things, work off each other. It's the way we would describe it in the board gaming realm is engine building. All right. So you're building this engine so that when you trigger something, it goes on and on and on and on, and you get all the bonuses and nobody else does. And so it's really intriguing. I love the board game app, the actual physical copy of it. We have it. I got it for my birthday a few years ago, and it's one of my favorite board games. And so to be able to jump on and play a game on Switch, and now you can play it online against other people as well, it's really cool. I will say that the European expansion didn't really. I didn't feel like it added much to it. The icon on the Switch doesn't even change when you update it. So it's there's no way to know. And then going in and there's no way to separate those birds out. So if you wanted to just play with the original rules, I haven't found a way to do that yet. That's it's typically in a board game, if I buy an expansion, I'll try it, and then sometimes I'll play it the regular way, or sometimes I'll play with the expansion.
Right. It comes in its own little box, and you can just leave it on.
It's just all blended in together. And I'm guessing it did well enough for them to release the expansion digitally. The original one, there's actually a new expansion coming out for the board game in a couple of weeks. And I expect to see that one probably make its way over as well. But if you're looking for a real chill experience, I recommend that. And I recommend Sagrada as well, which is a game about building stained glass windows with different colored dice. And it's really good. And it has a great single player mode as well. And this one, Wingspan 2, let me fail to mention, it has a mode called Automata, which it plays. You can play computer, or you can play against yourself, with different challenges, different things like that. So it's out there. Definitely think you should go check it out if you like board games, especially European style. You're not fighting; it's not Risk or anything where you're trying to wipe your opponent out. You're just looking at birds. Just hanging out with birds. That's good stuff. So that's what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight, shall we? So one of the first things we want to do here with the community spotlight is to shine that spotlight on NINDADS, who I don't think it's a stretch to say that in the realm of podcasting, you guys have been one of our longest friends in podcasting. And we both give each other a lot of crap back and forth between the shows. But honestly, we love your work, and we love what you guys do over there. And you guys have recently gone through some changes and are looking strong and continuing forward. And Will and Adam, we just want people to know, if they are listening and they are hearing your voice for the first time, obviously they know that you talk about way more than Nintendo. You're talking about all kinds of video gaming and pop culture and things over there. And you guys do some fantastic videos and podcasts. How do people find you, and what is NINDADS all about?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for those kind words. We also think that we're fantastic. So we appreciate that. NINDADS has been around for 8 years now, and your listeners are probably unaware of this concept, but it's an approach on the world of video games from the angle of middle-aged parents. And I
don't think anybody else is doing that.
That's a unique perspective.
Nobody does that, right?
No,
we have carved out this special little corner of the internet. Nobody's podcasting about video games anymore, really. No. I mean, when you think about it, This is just something very unique. No,
not even Nintendo.
You know, I like to think of our little slice of the podcast world as just complete shenanigans. Like we're a podcast about video games, but we're not really a podcast about video games. And we kind of approach everything through a more comedic lens. I mean, for example, we spoke probably about 10 minutes on our last episode about onions, right, Will?
Yeah.
Onions.
Yeah, I heard that, and I'm like, if you cut an onion right, it won't stink and won't disrupt you. So
yeah, but he doesn't like that. He needs the stink.
Right. But he likes that. So
I like to cut an onion wrong and just get the stink all over me. And I want the tears and the snot coming off my face, so that like I really feel that each onion is like it's a story that's just waiting to be told. That's why there's so many layers to it. Anyway, NINDADS has been around for 8 years. We have a series of podcasts, much like you guys do. The main flagship title, of course, is NINDADS Live, which is a monthly series. We recently just rebooted that series. Will is now one of the co-hosts with me, as well as Antonio, which we don't let him out very often, so that's why he was not allowed to join us today. We also, like you said, we have the YouTube channel. We recently relaunched the website, which has been a long, drawn out and painful, truly painful experience. And that's megadads.org. So anybody who's interested in anything that we do at Megadads, just go to megadads.org. You're going to see all the podcasts, all the videos. We have a webcomic series. Everything is basically hubbed right there at that one place.
I will say this for folks that who don't, and I've seen some people in chat are like, who are these folks? If you don't know Megadads, as Marty said before, we give each other a lot of grief, right? In front of the camera, and but behind the scenes, admire each other very well. And I would say this, that if you are looking for what I believe is some of the highest quality produced content out there from an independent podcast such as this, Megadads is that bar. They do an incredibly fantastic job, not only the content that they produce every single month, the quality of it, but the amount of content that's put out, the different voices and perspectives that are there, the different kind of man. I don't like Nintendo, but there's something different. They got a whole Xbox stream. They've got the website. They've got the art that Adam does. There's so much, I think, for someone to connect with, and I think they do that well. Also, the other thing that I admire them, they do so well. And folks, if you are ever thinking of Extra Life, ever wanting to do something like Extra Life, Megadads is that bar. They set that so well that we kind of aspire to be in that category of work that is done. And so I would just encourage you to go and to support them on Patreon, to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, support them. They are amazing friends of ours, amazing content creators that we've had the pleasure of being through this journey with them for over, just about 8 years together as well.
Yeah, really since the beginning, really.
Yeah, and so I mean, you're gonna listen to their show and then be like, why am I listening to Nintendo Dads? Because this quality is nowhere where it should be. But that comes with a lot of work and passion. And I know, Adam, that is something that you have always been super passionate about. And if for those of you that maybe don't know, and you're like, why does Adam Leonhard's name sound familiar? For those who don't know, Adam has been doing our art cards for us for almost 5 years. Whenever we ask for doing some art cards or some customized art, and he's kind of one of our key contacts. And so, just some fantastic work. And I know, Adam, your work has been highlighted in the industry as well, through some artwork that's been designed and supported. So I don't know if you want to promote it or highlight any of that also.
I mean,
trophy.
I mean, I've done. Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually designed some of the stuff that was done at GDC this last month or the month before that. My day job is designing Crystal Awards. It's not really a Megadads related thing, but it's a cool little way to be involved in the industry in kind of a side aspect. I've done some design work for G4.
Victor Lucas.
Yeah, Victor Lucas, I've worked with him on his Rocket and Ray Gun Award stuff that came out this last holiday season. I try to, I like doing stuff that's forward facing like NINDADS. It's nice to be in front of the camera, but it's also nice to support people. I've had the pleasure of working with you guys for a long time. We've known each other for a long time. We knew each other so well that you kicked me off the show for 2 years and wouldn't let me back.
Yeah, that's good.
No, but it's nice. It's nice to have working relationships that feel like family, right? That feel like friends.
Yeah. And
we've known each other a long time. We've gone through a lot of highs and a lot of lows together. And it's just, it's great to be able to come back home to your friends after such a long journey and still have that connection. So it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah. And for those of you that may have missed it, last year we did Dad Fest, right?
Yes.
And there was a fantastic, what's the game? What was it? Knockout
City.
Knockout
City dodgeball tournament. We were raising funds for charity, went literally down to the final game 7. It's on our YouTube channel. I think it's probably on yours as well. Some of the most intense Knockout City we've ever played, palm sweaty, but a fantastic time and raise money for a great charity as well.
And there was a time when I think it was Splatoon 2 with NINDADS versus
Oh yeah, when we got banned from Mixer.
We were streaming on Twitch, they were streaming on Mixer, and Mixer banned them.
That is a funny story. Yeah, that was Extra Life. We did a competition with you guys on Splatoon, and we did it in our swimsuits. Which they didn't like at Mixer. And so
they couldn't handle it.
I remember getting a message from Justin. He's like, you guys know your stream is dead, right? And I'm like, what? We tried to, no, we got canned. We got tossed from Mixer.
And then a few months later, you guys shut down Mixer behind the scenes.
then Mixer just died.
Yeah, well, they couldn't handle our jubblies, our man jubblies.
Yeah, so for people that just don't know why, it's because of the fact that on screen they were topless because they were in their swimsuits.
Well, yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, everything was, it wasn't sexual. It was just kind of a bit of fun. Right.
There was an excessive amount of sunscreen.
Let's be honest. If you guys had been naked from the waist up in a hot tub on Twitch, you would have been fine.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. It would have been fine. You would have been top 10 tier content there.
I think the problem was we didn't have that Manscaped asset.
Not that Manscaped ad. You know what I'm saying?
Manscaped.
You know what? I've got some extra stuff. Maybe I'll send down to you, Adam. You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. Well, guys, y'all head over.
Other thing I do want to say about NINDADS, Adam, am I correct that recently you've been getting into producing films?
Well,
I heard there's a summer blockbuster that's coming back.
Here's the thing.
Jesse, are you able to pull up an image that maybe was sent out from NINDADS account? We retweeted it as well. You'll see it when you see it.
I don't know if I can find it. That's pretty deep, buried pretty deep.
About 3 years ago, Jesse and I decided that, we had bigger aspirations than just podcasting and video game content. And so we decided to create our own limited series where we traveled the country. This was pre-COVID times, and sampled the nation's finest artisanal sandwiches. And this was Jesse and Adam eat artisanal sandwiches. And this won awards up and down. Like, we were invited to the Emmys. This was a huge thing. Red carpet affairs. There was one nasty situation where Jesse was just completely blasted on cocaine, but we don't like to talk about that. That's all in the past. Since then, and since he came out of rehab, we've launched our movie career. We have a movie studio, and this summer is going to be the sequel to our smash action series, Dad Heat. Original Dad Heat took place in Miami. It was about Jesse and I taking on the Nicaraguan drug cartel to rescue our artisanal sandwiches. And this one is called Dad Heat 2. Dad on Arrival is the subtitle. And this one's more kind of like a Die Hard experience where we're in Detroit and we're stuck in a warehouse as we're being surrounded by crooked cops and the underground. And it all revolves around artisanal sandwiches because that's really the point. That's where our passion is. But Dad Heat 2, Dad on Arrival will be available for one night only in my living room. So if people want to get in on that, just DM me and I'll see if I can get you in.
It is absolutely tremendous stuff. Please, Jesse, are you able to pull up that image? It's on Adam's Twitter account. It is absolutely tremendous, and we're going to save that image and we're going to put it on our page as well.
There you go. Well, while he's doing that, again, you guys want to head over to megadads.org. Go check out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Be sure you're getting their content. You will not regret it. And we want to thank you guys for being on the show, and we'll thank you again later. As we head further into this community spotlight, we do want to remind you of the requests that we have for you guys right now to share video content with us. We're asking you to submit a quick video, no more than 2 minutes long, sharing what brought you to the Nintendo Dads and why you stayed. If you submit a video, you get a chance to win an eShop card from your region. The amount of the eShop card will depend on the number of entries. And so the more entries we have, the more eShop cards we would like to give away. So again, more entries means less amount on that eShop card, but more people get it. To enter, you must be a follower, subscriber, and or listener of the Nintendo Dads. And this is due very soon, guys, by Friday, May 20th. You can get those into us. You can send a link over to nintendodads@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM on any of our social media spaces. We would love to get that from you guys.
I have the movie poster up now. I didn't even see that there was a sequel. I was still thinking you were talking about the original one.
No.
He is high out of his mind again.
Yeah,
I think we've got to readdress the situation. He doesn't even remember filming the sequel.
Right?
Come on.
Jesse, you have a problem. This is an intervention now.
I just might.
I love that Antonio has replied with just okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So he's like, okay.
Let's talk about some of our Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. Some real quick updates here. Game Pass News is on episode 51. Keep your ads out of my game. They talk Xbox physical numbers, Ubisoft shopping around. Does Netflix news matter to Xbox Game Pass and this week's in Game Pass? You can also check out Dads After Dark, episode 98. Splatoon's pain is Xenoblade's gain. They talk about Xenoblade moving up the calendar again with the Netflix problems and Game Pass, and Drew's Nature Preserve returns. Retro Logic episode 4 on topic Retro Rewind, Toe Jam and Earl is available right now as well. John is joined by special guests Will, Adam, and Tim on the show to talk about Toe Jam and Earl, one of the most, I think, one of the most underrated Sega Genesis games of all time. It's a gem. It was April's Retro Rewind game. And don't forget to play Earthworm Jim 2, which is May's Retro Rewind game that they'll talk about at the end of the month. Also, the Well-Read Mage from the NES Pro magazine, a new magazine that is a Kickstarter page, will be guesting on Retro Logic's next episode. So go over. He's got a website, the-pixels.com. There's an article over there that the Well-Read Mage has written called, or defining what the term retro means and how it applies to the gaming community today. So you can check them out on next week's episode. Let's dive into some questions. We've got about 3 this week, as well as a voicemail. The first question comes from Ebucel. This is for you, Adam. Did you get to go to GDC?
No, I definitely did not get to go to GDC. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? No, that was definitely a thing that, I knew. It was kind of cool because, obviously I knew who the winners were. I knew what was happening and all that kind of stuff. But I'm definitely not at that level where I would get to go to GDC. But it was super awesome the morning after the award show on Twitter to see all of these developers who made all of these games that I appreciate so much holding up, the awards that I helped make for them. That was pretty amazing. So even though I wasn't there physically, I felt connected to it, and it was just a really humbling experience.
So Adam, was that separate of your day job, or was it, or was that like just happened to fall into your company's scope, or was that just you hustling?
No, that's actually my day job. So it just happened to come across my desk. And that's part of my work is, we've done work for the Grammys. We do all sorts of different things, and Game Developers Conference that came across my desk as, one of my new jobs to design. So it had nothing to do with my capacity as somebody in the gaming space, but it was, it was still a pretty amazing experience.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love it how you got to see work and passion collide.
It was so really cool. And it's just one of these random things where here are these people making the things that have brought me so much joy for, my entire life. Seeing the artists and designers for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is one of my favorite games that I got to enjoy with my son. And I was able to channel something and give it back to them. Even though they don't know it's coming from me, it was just one of those surreal moments. It was cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Next question comes from Discord from Mecha Dragon 101. He says, if your child asked you for another video game system when they already had one, what would you say? Let's say the kid is 10. I'm going to say yes. We have all the systems. So what is he going to ask for now? I mean, he has nothing to ask for.
Yeah, I think we are probably not the right people to ask that.
No.
I think a normal family wouldn't have every system. And
yeah, I mean, I don't have every system. I think if my kids were like, "Hey, Dad, I want an Xbox or whatever," I mean, my natural gut reaction would be yes, that's fine. But I think that I would always kind of be like, well, what is it you're wanting to play? Like, I'd kind of just ask some questions. What are you wanting to play specifically? Why are is that where your friends are? I a little bit of seeking to understand as to kind of what the value is, right? Because if they're like, oh, I want an Xbox so I can play, Grand Theft Auto 5. Wait a second, you're 10. Let's have a conversation about this, right? So I do a little bit of that, and also like, what are you not getting from your current console? Is it a specific game? What is it exactly? So that's just a little bit of my parenting. So.
Ibosil says they want an Amico. Make it happen.
That's what it is. Yeah, everybody wants an Amico.
Yeah, actually, I do remember having this discussion with my kid around 10. He asked he wanted the Xbox 360, and at the time I said no. Because the only games, I don't remember what games he wanted to play, but my perception of the 360 was it was a console for sports games, and it was a console for pew shooter games. And I wasn't ready for him to start playing shooter games yet, and he would have no interest in sports. So I said, I'll pass on this one, and then we'll, if it's the shooter games that you want, we'll talk about that when you're older. And then he eventually did start getting into them, the Call of Duties, like when he was 12 or 13 on the Wii U, and he still plays Call of Duty today. But yeah, I think that was the one example of where I had a similar conversation with my kid.
Awesome. Anybody else got any insight on that question before we move on?
For perspective, I already had the Nintendo and the PlayStation console of that generation, so the Xbox was the only one we didn't have.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'll just say really quick. First of all, I think Justin's right. We're kind of the weird people to ask this question because we're, who we are. But I am lucky enough to have a son who kind of really is guided by his interest based on what I play, which, I'm lucky enough that he shows a lot of interest in what I do. Right. So the games that he enjoys playing are a lot of the games that I've kind of opened him up to, the gateway that he's experienced. So we've played games like Final Fantasy VII together. The other day I came out of my office and he was playing Gran Turismo, and I'm like, "You're 7. What are you doing?" And he genuinely enjoys it because he identifies that with fun experiences with Dad, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm lucky enough right now where we have everything we need because the experience of play that we have together is that it's identified with what we do together.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, my our PS5, and I say our, is actually a joint ownership between me and my son. It was our Christmas present.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's the way it should be.
And so, yeah, I mean, like, when he moves out of the house, we're gonna play rock paper scissors for it. We've already decided. It's like
it's interesting here looking at Mecca's kind of follow-up question as well. It looks like there's some implications of like, hey, we were a family that couldn't afford more consoles, right? When they were. So it sounds like he's connecting with this. So I think the question that I would kind of ask in regards to that, is that idea of like, so are you willing to sell what you have to get the new thing? Right. So if you are a family that is on a budget, right, or a constraint, and that's the realism of the world that we live in nowadays, we can't have everything. I think it's important to have limits, right? To be able to say, hey, if you want this thing, you probably need to give up something else, right? So great example. I was, Mecca, I was in a family as well where my mom was a single mom, right? It was just her and I. There wasn't a lot of extra disposable income. Also, let me say this, God bless her. She did an amazing job, right? Like all single parents out there, God bless you, right? But I remember like I wanted a Super Nintendo, right? And there was no way we could afford a Super Nintendo. I have a Nintendo, right? Like my mom, like I don't like. Why do you need another one? The word super is in front of it. How is this better? And so the comment was essentially, if you want that thing, then you need to either save up to buy it, or you're going to need to sell the other thing, right? So that'd be the upsell, right? So you'd go down to the pawn shop or whatever it was, right? Or you'd find a friend whose parents were looking to buy a Nintendo, and you'd sell your Nintendo and your consoles, and you use that money for your next system, right? So I think that could be part of the commentary around it as well. Yeah. So talking about the budget thing, there. So that's just something to think about as well. Of sometimes that's costs around it. So if you didn't, don't ever make someone feel bad if you didn't have multiple consoles as a kid, right? Like every situation when parents are growing up is different, and
Or Marty, your kid could do what my kid did and just buy his own PS5.
Yeah, that's true. And there are some things that we've made him work for, and I think that is a great thing to have your kids do, because it teaches the value of the thing.
My son's 21 with a decent job and actually is getting promoted to a supervisor position at his work.
Nice job, Matthew. Well done.
My son is 7 and he mixes a great margarita. So
yeah. So I think Adam's winning.
I didn't even know he was going to get a PS5. All of a sudden, he just comes home one day with this box saying, "I got a new toy." I'm like, okay.
We, I don't know what your kids did, but my kid got his electronics taken away for lying to us today. So while we were gone earlier, he organized the fridge.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not joking. We came in, it's like, who did this? He's like, I did. I was like, oh, we need to ground you more often. All right.
Yeah, I was saying, really, there's this idea of like, look at how productive they are when they're not in front of the screen. Right.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next question. Bruce Patterson asks, who has finished Majora's Mask? Let's round the horn here. Yeah. Who's finished Majora's Mask?
I have. 3DS version.
All right, Jesse and Will, then this one's for you. Who's replayed it on NSO? If so, is the Pro controller good with it, or better with the N64 wireless controller? Thanks, Poutine Dads.
So I haven't played the NSO version, but I will base my answer of how I remember trying to play the 3D All-Stars last year on the Pro controller. And I had a horrible time because I wanted that second stick to do what a second stick does, which these games don't, because an N64 doesn't have a second stick. So if you can get your mind past that, I'm sure it'd be fine. If you can't, play it on the N64 controller.
Yeah.
I mean, the N64 controller is going to give you way less of a mountain to climb, since the symbols on the screen will correspond to symbols on the thing in your hands.
I do remember when I played Paper Mario, I liked playing it on the original N64 controller as opposed to trying to play it on the Pro controller. I just wish the game didn't corrupt on me.
Well, yeah, that would be ideal if it would not do that. I I guess, I mean, honestly, if you're thinking about doing it on the N64 controller for the Switch, you already have NSO, and you can just give it a shot. You can give it a try. I think if you spend like maybe like an hour or so with it, and you just absolutely cannot get your head around it, then yeah, maybe it's time to go ahead and do the N64 controller thing. There's an adjustment period, and I think if you can keep it in your head that like Jesse said, that right stick is not going to do what you think it does or what it should do. All it's going to do is push 4 buttons, 3 of which are important.
Yeah, the right stick mimics the C button.
The C buttons. Yeah, if you can get it through your head that the right stick is buttons and not a stick, yeah, I think you'll have a fine time with it. But there is an adjustment, and if you just cannot reconcile that in your head, then go ahead and do the 64.
Also, good luck getting the N64 controller if you don't have it already.
I'm going to be honest.
What is
I have
up
no
with
idea.
that?
Yeah,
like they appeared one time and then zilch.
I actually had Antonio from Megadads actually sold me one.
Did he?
And shipped it to Canada for me. Yeah,
good for him.
It was very kind of him.
It's a good guy.
We'll let him out a couple more times for that.
Yeah, there you go. He's got my thumbs up of approval.
But we're not giving him the key to the puppet box.
No, him and puppets that's bad. That's bad.
I am weirdly intrigued by the puppet box, but I don't want to. I don't want to deep dive in the puppet box. Okay, that's fine. So in place of that, we've got a voicemail. So Jesse, why don't you play that for us?
Hey guys, it's me, Christian. I was just calling to get some clarification. So last week, Tim was asking the community to submit a video in regards to how we all came about the Nintendo's Dad channel and why we're staying, and I think he said 2-minute long video. I guess what I wanted to know is it just going to be the dad that's going to listen, or is it going to be the dad that's going to make the video, or can the whole family participate in the video? Because I know my whole family listens to Nintendo Dads, especially me and the kids when we go to school in the morning. We put on Nintendo Dads and we listen to it bit by bit throughout the week. So just if I can get clarification on that. And also the 2-minute time limit, does it have to be exactly 2 minutes or can it be shorter than that? Just wanted to get some clarification. I really love the idea. It sounds like it's going to be fun. Also, one more thing, in the creativity levels, does it have to be just basically a sit-down video of saying why we like Nintendo Dads, or can it be super creative and I can make a really cool video and then submit it to you, and then that's what I wanted to know, if it's going to be a basic video or something super cool. Anyways, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You provide so much entertainment for me and my family, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Stay safe, and whoever's listening out there who is not subscribed, please subscribe to the Nintendo's Dad YouTube channel and also on your podcast of choice. All right, guys, have a great day.
So 2 things. First, Christian, we're so sorry for this episode.
So sorry, Christian. My God.
Yeah. Ooh.
So sorry.
Yeah. That's thing.
That's going to be an email.
Yeah. Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks. Second thing, absolutely as creative as you want. You can absolutely include your family and your kids, and it can be less than 2 minutes. Doesn't need to be exactly 2 minutes, just no longer than 2 minutes if possible. So those are the things. Thank you, Christian, for sending in that voicemail. And we always love hearing from Christian as well.
Also, can we just say he's hired?
Yeah, that guy's hired as our promo guy.
Yep, you're hired. Great job. Well, guys, that's all of our community spotlight questions and voicemails this week. And that means that we're going to wrap it up and put a bow on episode 374 here. Adam, Will, we want to thank you guys so much for being on the show again. Will, thanks for being here for the first time.
Nope. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I look forward to being let out of prison and back on the show.
Oh, yeah.
When Will normally does the live streams Thursday nights while we're recording.
I do typically.
Which made scheduling this interesting. I'm like, you're gonna have to not record that night, stream that night. And so he did a multi-month playthrough of Persona 5, all on stream. And at the end of our show, I would occasionally raid his channel as we wrap up. So
Yeah. So you guys be sure to go over and check out megadads.org and check them out on YouTube and all the other places they are. And
Adam will try not to ban you for his name.
You're gonna come back. You're gonna come back.
I'm so sorry, Christian. That Pokemon Minute thing was unnecessary. The talk about tequila and my kid. That was
not true. By the way.
That was only mostly true.
Just a little bit of a bit.
Right. Only mostly true. Well, as we close out, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Aaronsberger, Antonio Contronio, Solo Something, Alexander Ocampo, and RJ Kern for jumping in at the $30 level and being Patreon producers. And we want to say a huge thanks to every one of you that goes over and even just from $1 to $5 to $10 a month supports us at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can head over there right now and get access to our Discord and a whole lot more. Also, thanks to our YouTube subscribers, over 6,100 of you subscribe to us on YouTube now, and Twitch, 1,300 followers and growing, and 34 of you also subscribe to us via Twitch Prime, and you get access to Discord as well. As Justin said earlier, remember to go over to manscaped.com and get your 20% off and free shipping with the code NINDADS. That's NINDADS. You can head over to nintendodads.org to check out all of our videos and tweets and podcast episodes and social media and all that stuff. Be sure to email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And reminder, wherever you download us and listen to us on your podcast app of choice or service, be sure to go leave us a 5-star review and some written words to tell people how awesome we are so that other people can find the show.
Remember, 3-star reviews, that's for the Mega Dads, not for us.
That's right. So for me, for Justin, for Jesse, for Will and Adam, thanks for hanging with us for episode 374 of Nintendo Dads. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo Dads all of a sudden.